My dad's death was slow and horrible. And so I thought a lot. I was forced to think a lot because I saw in him things that terrified me. And I had to face some of those terrors in myself. Death is something that always, to some extent, is happening to us against our will. And that's part of what learning to die is about. He was totally, not totally, but massively cut off from the sources of life to which he was accustomed, because he lost the ability to move. He lost the ability to speak. So he couldn't reach out and touch anyone. He couldn't use words to express himself. And of course, he had acquired very little habit of being able to cope with that kind of bodily weakness. And so it inflicted on him a terrible trauma, which he never really was able to recover from before dying. So I think it's important to recognize that our life is full of the power of death from our conception. So there is decay happening in our life, our whole life long. So that all of life is a struggle to learn to die well. Sometimes we're tempted to simply compensate for that loss of power with forms of technology that hide our weakness from us, where I don't have to think about the limits of my physical strength, because to get from place to place, I just burn the death of fossils to be able to get there. And so I don't realize that my body is changing, growing, etc., because there's a form of technology that hides the growing weakness of myself. Physical movement, tracking the way that your body grows weary over time, is an important way of learning to struggle under the pressure of death.
And how do you do that?
Well, I like to get into the mountains a lot on my feet, so I like to run, and I run slower all the time, which is just fine. And I find that the less fast I can move my body, the more attentive I am to the lives of other creatures around me, and the more I can delight in their presence, because I'm less able to run right by them with speed. We do have powers that we can grow over time in an effort to face that death in a way that, say, Paul talks about as robbing it of its victory over us. This is what Christ's death does for us, and we're able to learn how to die from the presence of Jesus in our life, that enables us to face death and to not be defeated by it.